Alright, once you got your axle line axis set up there, all we're going to do is try and figure out our wheel sketch, and that's going to come from, if you remember our original wheel, we made a sketch similar to this that we would end up revolving, that would turn into something like this. After we did that, we cut out the little spokes, then we ended up circular patterning, and then we made ourselves the outside of the wheel. That general pattern can give you a pretty good wheel pretty quick. One thing I will say is if you go back to the beginning here, if those little cutouts don't go to the outside, so for example this cutout goes all the way, if yours don't, then you can do all in one big revolve. You can revolve this area right here that your tire is going to go on all at the same time. So it might save you one revolve on there. It might work a little nicer for you. But basically we're going to make a sketch that is very similar to this one. Matter of fact, if you want to make it the same here, you can try and do a copy and paste. I'm going to make a different one for what I'm doing, but you can start with that, and that's going to be your first move. Is this center line axis right here is going to be this axis right here. So that'll be our first move. Next thing that you'll want to do is you're going to want to get your wheel image in there. So I'm just going to grab one that somebody gave to me earlier. I believe. If you can't find your image file, sometimes going to all files will help. I know I've had a couple that haven't shown up. So these are some fancy ones. These will be a little harder than most of the ones that you guys are going to send to me. But just to show you what I'm talking about, what I would recommend is put your wheel in here. You can even kind of turn to the side a little bit. And I would just kind of play around with the size of this. So figure out, you probably don't want super tiny wheels. These are looking like sports car wheels, so I'm going to try and make these to where they look pretty aggressive. Currently I have my graphics sliced, so I could do this and get a kind of feel for it. If you wanted to, you could put a sketch on the side and kind of size the image and then copy and paste it. So just to show you that, if I wanted to, I could go back to that original sketch here. I could put the image in on this side to get kind of a feel of what it's going to look like. And from here, be like, oh, okay, I think that looks pretty good. Once I think that size looks pretty good, then I can take this scaled image, copy it, then go into the one that I'm going to actually revolve, which was this one. And instead of using the one that I imported in, I could just paste in the one that I had scaled. So that one that I paste in here, theoretically. Probably because that sketches before. Maybe not. We'll see. Inventor gives even the most experienced user a little trouble every once in a while. Try that copy. Let's see if that paste goes a little better than last time. There we go. Now I got that one. So this one is the same size as this one. And if I ever really wanted to make sure that it stayed that way, so let's say maybe I wanted to scale this thing later, I think you should be able to if you wanted to. I could put this dimension right here, and then I could come back to this sketch, and I could dimension this image to be that one's value. I don't know if you guys have seen that before, but basically it's going to say this image is based off of that image, which means now, if I went back to the original one, if I change this dimension, maybe I was like, maybe I want it to be 1.5. Change that, and it changes that image right away. So that's something that I'll show you guys a little bit later, basically basing dimensions off of other dimensions. But that is the next step, or the second step of figuring out your wheels, is figuring out how big you want the image to be, because we're going to use it to set up everything.